Welcome back to Games with John and James, everybody. My name's John.
And I'm James.
And it's season 3, y'all. And if we have any luck at all, you just heard our brand new intro song, which I actually had commissioned for the show.
It involves me rapping 1, 2, 3 games with me and me only, cause John, he's dead and I won the games with John and James.
Why do you wish death upon me?
Well, I mean, you did have to sacrifice part of your soul for the past month in the place that you hate the most.
I don't hate Washington. I hate Seattle. It's very different.
Okay. Well, that's fair. Washington, you're all right. Seattle, well, just fall in the ocean.
The Puget Sound's right there. Jump in.
So, as John said, we're back. It's been a wild month, at least on my end. I know, John, you were plugging away at work up there. I went through 9 different games in attempting to, pick up the next big game I was going to play. And of the 9, I only stuck with 1. So,
the foot is on the other hand, talking about not sticking with games.
Yeah, I realized I got to stick through this to the very end. Shouldn't apply to quite a few games.
Yeah, like some games really just have a concept and then you just leave it. That's what games used to be. Now that they cost $70, a lot of people just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, so now I'm actually playing Stray.
Oh, the kitty cat game, yeah.
It is so much fun.
Why?
It's an adventure. And when I say it's an adventure, that can be
3 out of 10.
It can be a cop-out answer, I know, absolutely, but you just have the sense of wonder and enjoyment that's been gone from video games for so long. It doesn't matter if you're completing the mission, it doesn't matter if you're just exploring, it's just, you feel so immersed in this world and so vested that you just never want to stop. And I couldn't put it down. Like, I loaded it up, I was like, oh, this is neat, oh, this is cool. Oh, this is 10 hours later. Huh.
I think the last time a game truly did that to me was like Half-Life 1.
Explain yourself.
I just remember being a kid and getting, a copy of Half-Life for free from my brother's friend or something like that. And there was I remember a day where I came back from like some type of family engagement, some type of party or something. And then I just went downstairs like, I'm going to play some games for a while. And then I was in Black Mesa for the better part of like 6 hours. And my dad, because the computer was like located in my parents' bedroom. So I went down there to play games. And of course, I had to be kicked out when it was time to go to bed. It's like, hey, John, I'm going to bed, so you got to go move. I'm like, what time is it? Oh. And I like freaked out because I was like, I was in it. I was Gordon Freeman.
You were in it to win it.
Yeah, and that's still one of the few games that actually did that to me outside of like the original Elder Scrolls Morrowind.
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, like it was, if you look at it now, it seems pretty like archaic, but it also laid the foundation for what Skyrim is going to be. So there you go.
And Elder Scrolls 6.
Which we still don't have a release date for.
And probably never will.
Because Todd is taking his time.
Yep. Thanks, Microsoft.
I should have worn my Mickle Mouse shirt today. So as you dove into video games, like we said, I was diving into work. So I covered the CISM International Women's Soccer Championship. And America didn't win. Sorry, y'all. They came in 4th in the bronze medal match against Korea. But I got to go up to Washington and got to experience some of the Pacific Northwest before it started on fire, which, was a good thing. I dodged that bullet. But it was nice to kind of be in what resembled my neck of the woods for a while. Other than that, I've been diving into my own creativity since the season break happened. So I've been sketching a lot, drawing a lot, taking some commissions. I've been enjoying my new place since I moved. I moved fairly like right before the season break, and so I've been just enjoying my new digs and looking forward to jumping into more projects in the future. So summer apparently is the busy time around here, and gonna do it right.
Yep. And as I promised, so the video game doctor, I have been diligently working on that this last month. I am almost ready to send it out, so please show it, love and support. Blast me, roast me if you want. I welcome that as well. But you'll all be in for a treat with the first title, The Doctor's Gonna Save or Let Die.
Any teasers?
It involves the JRPG.
No! All right.
So, which actually brings me to our 3-minute review, which we have to have this every intro, and it's actually going to be tempered down to 1 minute, and it's about the game I was playing, Stray. I give it a solid 9 out of 10. The reason why it's a 9 out of 10
Have you beaten it yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Loved the game. The reason why it's a 9 out of 10 is I wanted more content. But I'm assuming we're going to get more on the back end. But it could cost us some money, which, we all have a lot to say about that. However, gameplay is great, story is fun, just the interactivity with the environment is wonderful, and it is a very rare occasion outside of maybe a Far Cry or a good Fallout that you kind of have that good...
Or a good Far Cry.
Hey-o. You have that sense of pure immersion in a world.
Mm-hmm.
That hasn't happened for me, and I can't tell you how long. Love it.
Yeah, we were just talking about it with like Half-Life and stuff. Sometimes games just grip you. Like, if you have more to your review, please do. But since you saved us some time, I'll review a game myself. So, my 1 minute review goes to the new TMNT game that came out, Shredder's Revenge.
Hey!
That game is, like, ballaholic amazing. I loved it. As soon as, like, right from Jump Street, you play the first level, you know how to beat up Foot Clan soldiers, you know how to throw them against the screen, you know how to throw them against the ground, you know how to get big hit combos. All the new moves only serve to make the game more fun to play. There's no cheap bullcrap that, arcade quarter munchers used to have, where it was just cheap deaths all the time. All that stuff's gone, so like all of the fun of those old beat-em-ups you used to play as a kid is back in full force with new stuff and not annoying stuff. And the music's great, graphics are good, like 7 playable characters. You unlock Casey Jones at the end, you can play as April, Splinter, all 4 turtles, the whole shit. It's a lot of fun. Good multiplayer time, 6-player simultaneous beat-em-up co-op. Not since the original arcade X-Men game has that been a thing. So, just, 10s. I love it.
So what you're saying is, both of these games get a certified play it.
Yep. We actually said it in unison that time. We took 3 seasons for us to do that.
In work in progress.
Yeah, our own lives are a work in progress.
Hey-o. So, we'll be right back. I kind of alluded to what we're going to talk about, and it's kind of on the darker side of gaming with where with where the landscape of gaming is going, and it involves how you spend your money.
As someone who used to work at a bank, money is a thing.
I like how you said it that way because it makes it sound like you were the one who worked in the banks.
I like how rudimentary the description is. Yes, paper money is real. I have some in my pocket right now. You can't have it. I earned it.
So don't touch that dial. When we get back, we're going to take a look at the other side of gaming.
You better bring a bag of quarters.
Clink, 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 clink.
Those are pennies and you know it.
My block.
You broke my little wiener.
God. So, speaking of breaking things.
No, we're not going in on that.
Speaking of breaking things.
Speaking of hot dick.
So, speaking of breaking things, you don't want to break your wallet when you're playing video games and enjoying this wonderful hobby. Especially don't break your dick. That sounds very painful. Don't ever do that.
Don't be a schmuck. Wrap your joystick up.
With a shmup.
Oh, yes. Because those were going to hurt your fingers anyway, because you got to push the buttons real fast, and that's how you explain a joke. Anyway, so I think coming off of our season finale from last month, we had kind of the big blue sky idea where we discussed the single player game and the inherent value in that, and if the single player gaming is dead. So we thought a good way to come back would be to hit another blue sky kind of big open topic where we discuss monetization in video games, because former EA CEO, John Riccitiello, who's the CEO of Unity, the people who make all of the shovelware games that you see on Android and the Google Play Store, he comes out and says, if you're not thinking about monetization in the early stages of your game design, you're a fucking idiot. Exact words.
Yeah, we have come a long way from here's your game and enjoy it to I gave John a perfect example before we even started talking about the episode, Disgaea 5. Here's your game on PlayStation 4, by the way. Purchase your Battle Pass. Purchase all this. Get all this. Totals up to $200. All that you get in the Switch version.
Whale bait.
And it's just like, well, I want to punch myself in my own dick.
Yeah, because why do I love these things so much that hurt me?
It's something that I honestly think has been steadily on the rise. And
steadily, oh yeah. It's been here a long time.
Well, we're going on what? So mobile gaming was the big advent for like pure monetization within the game, non-subscription based, right?
Yeah, and like there were so many stages and like evolutions to it because like there were so many ways you could actually monetize your game. So, not to like put a bow on it right away, but the actual thesis of today's episode is going to be monetization in games, what works, what doesn't work, and maybe even ideal forms of it for what we actually want to see in gaming at all. Because, by and large, the arrangement was very simple. Whether you went to an arcade and you put in a quarter, that was it. And you basically played Pac-Man, which is the world's first survival horror game, because you have to outrun ghosts until you die.
Okay, well, hey, Pac-Man, you have a new category.
Yeah, and so then when the advent of home computer consoles and home, game consoles, the Nintendo, the Atari, all that kind of stuff, the concept of spending like, yes, it sounds like a lot of money up front, but you get to play the game as much as you want forever, which is a novel concept, because some of these games, why would you want to keep them? Like, Plaque Attack, where it's basically Space Invaders where you shoot cheeseburgers in someone's mouth.
I think we'll look at, like, that's like the base principle of gaming, right? Like back then, so after the arcade died down, it was buy it, play it, right?
Yeah.
Arcade kind of resurged in, late 80s, early 90s, Street Fighter generation.
Fighting games, yeah.
Mario versus Donkey Kong. All of it, like the arcade resurgence. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
Like I think that it's an honest use of your money. I'm going to the arcade. I know exactly what I have to do. Like in today's day and age, we have adult arcades. Look, Dave and Buster's, Main Event, and all the other ones, right?
Yeah. And also it actually kind of introduced the idea of like the meritocracy when it came to like the economics of video games, because there's nothing saying that you couldn't beat a game on one quarter if you were really good. So all of the freaking get good schmucks out there probably started from there. But I'll just tell you, I'll just break the illusion of the get good guys out there. They said, oh, you play these old games to get good at them? No, you cheated. You were a kid like I was in the 90s and like in late 80s and stuff. You cheated. You cheated at video games. You didn't earn crap. Now shut up.
Oh,
but anyway, back to the topic at hand.
So I can appreciate honesty because an arcade is transparent, right? You go there as a kid. Like when we went as kids, we had our quarters or we had our dollar bills to convert into quarters, right?
Yep.
We knew what we were getting into and we knew what to expect.
Yep. And especially if it was like a new game, it's like, how could you possibly be good at it? So you're gonna spend all your quarters on that one.
Exactly. And like that is open transparency with money usage. I'm okay with that when it comes to video games. Like if a brand new barcade were to open up right next door to us and they're they're like, hey, this is how you do it, XYZ, black and white, fully support it. But if it's like, oh, cool, new barcade, and I go in there, and it's like, well, to unlock this, you have to spend this. But if you want to get to that room, you have to spend this much. But to get to this room, you have to spend this much.
Oh, if you wanted to play pinball, well, you got to spend a lot of money, kid.
Exactly. Like, fuck that noise.
Yeah, but but what you just described is incidentally probably the most successful version of what monetization in games is nowadays.
Yeah, and I hate it.
Well, like outside of gotcha mechanics. But again, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. So, origins of monetization in games. You paid a quarter, you paid 50 cents, $1, whatever in the arcades to play a game. And you lasted as long as your skill did.
100%.
So, when we talk about the advent of things like mobile gaming and how a lot of that has, perforated into the industry at large to the point where you can't even play like a $60, $70 2K game without being berated for 2K coins and crap. So
And now you're getting ahead of yourself there, good sir.
yeah, I want to keep these episodes short. Let's go.
Topic!
I want the podcast in my veins.
Like poison in my veins.
It's my podcast, Ma. I'll do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a season 1 callback.
Yeah. What we should do is, whenever we do that, I imagine like little blurbs in comic books where it's just like, see issue 722 for more details.
Referencing a podcast episode 4, season 1, games with John and James.
Excelsior. Anyway.
So, I think moving on. So, we've talked about the arcade era. We got to kind of, we'll say, the silver age of gaming.
Mm.
So your Sega Genesis, Master System stuff, your Super Nintendo stuff,
I would still call that Golden Age, but continue.
Well, so for me, Golden Age is N64, PlayStation 1, Dreamcast, PS2, GameCube. Like, that era is Golden Age just because it, like, blew the doors wide open.
That's an episode topic for one day.
Hey, look at that.
It'll just be us screaming at each other. It's like, no,
I'm right.
You're wrong.
Fight me.
Yeah, and then we do punchies. But
so,
anyway.
like, you saw a little bit of the wackiness of monetization because back then there was no real price guide.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so as I mentioned in an episode past, like, my mom came across those old Kmart, like, she came across those old ads for video games. Literally. So, Super Mario RPG. So I had her flip through them. She sent a photo of it. Super Mario RPG was selling for $99.99 in a store.
Yeah.
That is not $100 game. Maybe now, obviously, for collectors, but back then, no. But then it, like, mirrors all the way over to a different Mario game going for $30.
Well, yeah, because, this is the way that it worked for a long time, was that in the NES days, like, you pay anywhere from $40 to $50 for a brand new game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, like, in terms of pricing guides and stuff like that, you'd have, like, arcade ports, you'd have the mainline Nintendo stuff, and then you'd have crap like Bad Street Brawler up there for the same price. Like, game pricing is not like an egalitarian thing. Like, there's no way that you can set a price on the quality of a game or like the length of a game. So like when, SVP chips came out for the Sega Genesis in Virtua Racing, like, yeah, it has an extra chip in there to make it so it can do 3D. That'll be $70. Or like when Donkey Kong Country came out, it says brand new 3D rendered graphics and stuff. So we put more stuff in the cartridge. $70, please. So people would use marketing to kind of spin a reason why they're more expensive, but more along those lines, they wouldn't really break those molds. And you'd usually expect as a game is out longer that the price would eventually either go down or it'd be re-released and made cheaper.
So the reason why I brought that up, that was kind of the Wild West of pricing, right?
Yeah.
And then we hit, for me, my golden age, not yours, apparently. You kind of had price uniformity when you hit PlayStation 1 and Nintendo 64 and the Saturn. Like, that's where prices stabilized. Like, special editions.
The cementing of, like, the $50 price point.
Special editions, obviously more. Other than that, cool is what it is, right?
Yeah, and you could also have that same debate of, like, well, because discs are cheaper to make, they could make games cheaper. But they didn't.
I mean, hey, thanks, PlayStation.
Thank you, Nintendo, for manufacturing like 4 million copies of Donkey Kong 64 and selling like 10 of them.
Oof.
Hey, at least Rare got paid.
DK. Donkey Kong is here.
Remember the first time you heard him say one hell of a guy in a Nintendo game and you went, swear words in monkey game.
Donkey Kong can rap.
Yeah.
So the reason why I mentioned that is, if you've noticed, like, arcades, straightforward. Wild West of pricing, back to straightforward. So the pendulum shifted just a little bit, and we were kind of ushered into, okay, this is the norm for gaming.
Yep.
And that lasted for a good amount of time, from PC gaming to even the late 90s, early 2000s re-renaissance of arcades with Tokyo Drift and all that nonsense. Remember that?
Well, yeah, because the arcades usually saw, in order for us to stay afloat, we can't just charge $0.25 anymore. We have to charge $1.
I still have my Tokyo Drift card somewhere.
Like, memory card?
No, my driver's card.
So would it, like, save data onto it? Crazy. Cool stuff. But
bro, it's from 2004.
Hey, if you can find a cabinet, go for it. But yeah, so the stabilization of pricing tiers and stuff like that, like, companies competed because they had to, because there were so many console manufacturers and so many publishers and so many developers where it was like just expensive enough to make a quality game that you had to compete with like everyone else, right? It was when the Xbox, GameCube, PS2 era came out where that $50 price point stayed around. Actually, no, it was the PlayStation 3, 360, and I guess Wii era where they said, you know what, $50 ain't enough, $60, and you saw that incremental increase, and people went crazy.
They did. But you actually bring up my segue that I wanted. So 2004, we're in the peak of GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox has just hit the scene, so we have a new player.
Good times.
Console online gaming is starting to somewhat take off. Remember the giant hard drive thing you had to put on the back of the PS2?
Oh yeah, so you could play online. It had like an Ethernet port on it.
So we're starting to see that, and then my opinion, the game that,
as opposed to my opinion,
you could have a different one, so I don't know.
I just think it's funny because people are listening to our show and they're just like, you know what? I want to hear hard-hitting, cold facts, not these two numbnuts' opinions. It's like, it's always our opinion.
So World of Warcraft was the game that changed monetization.
There were other MMOs before that.
There were.
How did those work?
So
like
I'm not,
EQ.
So I'm not familiar. I never played EverQuest too much. I'm not familiar with what their price structure was or anything. I wanted to base it on like WoW is still here, so that was like the big defining arc. Like,
yeah,
MMOs were still very niche. Like Final Fantasy XI, niche. EverQuest, niche. Like all of that was just kind of like a very small subsect of gaming. Whereas when World of Warcraft hit, if you look at it, the game didn't come out looking good. Still doesn't look good. And you don't need a lot of power to play it. And it took the world by storm. And that, like, Blizzard, now Activision Blizzard, but Blizzard then literally said, here's a blueprint for one game to generate millions a month.
Yep.
And I think that's when the world took notice.
It was the 1-2 punch of that, where after that kind of spawned this weird like gold rush for people to make MMOs, which if you remember, there were a lot of MMOs.
Yeah. Vanguard,
WildStar, Star Wars Galaxies,
Ion,
EVE Online, which is still going on. And
oh, did you just see? So random tangent. The world's most toxic EVE Online player quit the game.
I have no reference for this.
I didn't know anything about it, but it popped up. So I always get like news for for the Instagram, I get like gaming news and notifications from a few dozen websites and sources. And hey, you're on our good list. Somewhat, season 3, episode 1. But no, it like literally it was just like bold headline of toxic player blah from EVE quits finally. And you look at it, like at post 2004 into 2005, 6, and 7. That's when we just saw the blow up, right? The blow up of MMOs, the blow up of subscription based gaming.
Yeah,
that was that next page turned.
Yeah, and like companies like Nexon, that was their entire business model. Like make games like that. Gravity as well. A lot of like because even in like. Because we speak primarily from a Western market perspective.
Absolutely.
You look over in the other countries, it's like PC gaming is a big thing there because that's all they really have. So that's why PC-centered games like StarCraft, Warcraft, and all those games really appeal. So, of course, when they tried to break into like China, which is a huge market, video game consoles were also like not allowed there. So PC gaming was big. And the way you get in there and keep people with a steady flow of customers, make a Monster Hunter MMO, make a Ghouls and Ghosts MMO, make a Mega Man MMO. Just make all sorts of MMOs and online role-playing games that make it so you keep paying into it and hook them, with whatever freaking Skinner box gameplay loop you can make.
Yeah, so...
But I said it was a 1-2 punch, because that was definitely the one punch. The second punch was the advent of mobile gaming because of the iPhone.
You stole my thunder. That was my next topic.
Hey, I'm the Mac user here. I get to say it.
Okay, that's fair. No, I've had an iPhone ever since the dawn.
I said Mac user. You PC normie bullshit. That was probably the meanest thing I could say to you. You're devastated right now.
Totes, let me go cry on my PS5 that you don't have anymore.
I don't miss it.
Let me go cry on my Series X Halo Edition that you don't have, period.
Let me blow smoke into the top and destroy it like that asshole on TikTok.
Yeah, he a dumb.
Yeah, but he's also vapes, so he's automatically dumb.
Well, you hear that? That's all the vapors leaving our show.
Look, the truth is out there. Suck your depression stick elsewhere. Go blow your douche flute elsewhere, you freaking normie scum. I like the word normie.
Is that your word of the? This is your word of the season.
Word
normie?
of the season, normie. If you want me. It's like, I'm going to give him the crudest gesture I know. A thumbs down. Whoa, that's like a racial slur to John.
Oh, man. But you honestly hit the nail on the head. Like, we talked about the first punch. That second punch of mobile gaming. So I remember the initial craze for the initial iPhone, and then the 3GS and the 4 and the 5, so on and so forth, right?
Yep. And like Android came out, and that was the trendsetter, because flip phones and stuff, like, those had games on it, but you'd pay like $5 for a crappy 1 frame a second like shooter, or you'd play Snake or something.
Hey, Snake was the shit.
Yeah, but it was also free.
Exactly. So I remember when it first came out. At first, the mobile games, they still kind of had they had that freestyle model. Like, for the first few months, all was right in the world. But then we had, what was the game? It's where it's you versus a boss. It's the sword game. It's not Fruit Ninja.
Infinity Blade.
And there you go, that one. Once Infinity Blade hit and people were like, "Oh my god, this looks like a console game."
Yep.
That's when things started to take off, because right around that time, we also got the Candy Crushes, the Angry Birds, and other things. And if you or your parents are familiar with Candy Crush, you should ask Mom and Dad how much money they have sunk into Candy Crush.
I can tell you. I remember when I got, for Christmas, for my mom one year, we got her a Kindle. We got her like the Amazon Kindle so she can read ebooks and stuff. Mm-hmm. Then she found the games, and she found Candy Crush. And my Amazon account was connected to the pad, the Kindle. So every time she bought gold bars, it charged me. And she always paid me back, of course. But after a while, I was like, hey, just want to let you know that you spent like $250 on gold bars.
My aunt still plays Candy Crush to this day.
Oh, God.
We were talking about it. She's like, I can't seem to save money. And I was like, are you still playing Candy Crush? She's like, yeah, I don't spend that much on it. I was like, well, I didn't ask that. What do you mean? And so
it's like immediately like cheaters, like guilt mindset.
So we talk a little bit back and forth. My aunt was spending at one point almost $400 a month.
See, and the funny thing is that we all know is that that's the game working as intended. And that's what brings us to really the crux of the issue. The problem with the way monetization works in a lot of successful games. It's the idea of producing what a lot of people call whale bait. So for the uninitiated, whales are basically the big spenders in a lot of these mobile games. Because when you give a game away for free and you offer microtransactions, as opposed to the way Pokemon Unite does things, where they charge you $40 for a skin, which is a real thing.
We have referenced that not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Well, because it's so egregious and horrible, yeah, we should reference it as many times as we should. Don't forget, Pokemon Unite players, if you actually like that game, more power to you. But they tried to sell you a skin for $40.
I think, like...
Rise up, working class. You only have nothing to lose but your chains.
Basically. Honestly, I'm not a fan of the current model. EA, they're one of the biggest proponents of this trashery. Loot boxes, look at the way Madden's set up, 2K is set up.
Oh, yeah,
look at the
Ultimate
way
Team. Yeah.
Anything.
Well, it's interesting, too, because a lot of when the whole kerfuffle around like kids being exposed to microtransactions happened a few years ago, they were like, well, look at trading cards. Those are like mystery boxes and loot boxes. We're just applying the same principle. Yeah, and that's still kind of a problem also because the way that you buy trading cards and stuff is you actually have a tangible good in your hand, not something that's going to get scrapped when the new game comes out. So it's just a perpetual money machine to a lot of people, and it sucks. Now, what's crazy though is that it didn't used to be that way at the start of mobile gaming with like iPhone gaming and stuff. Because like you'd get Angry Birds or you'd get Cut the Rope or whatever games you played on your phone.
Fruit Ninja!
Or Fruit Ninja. You had to buy them for like $1. And that system worked great.
And that was the whole game.
Yeah. And like the whole point was it was a gold rush to make cheap, fun, arcadey style games that people could spend like, $1 or $5 on and you play them forever.
Exactly. That's how it should be.
Because like the Infinity Blade thing was like delivering on the promise of what mobile gaming could be in terms of offering like console-based experiences.
Mm-hmm.
But as we saw with things like Flappy Bird that came out, which made this guy like crazy rich because he just ran ads on it because it was a free game, which if you're going to monetize something, like do that, which a lot of them do, and they still offer whale bait, which it's so, I use the word egregious. It's just so monstrous in the way that it basically just picks on people who have compulsion issues or picks on people who have spending problems or, or exploitable by kids who might not understand, like, hey, I'm spending real money. I don't know what that is.
Let's call a cow a cow. It is very predatory.
Mm-hmm.
And not just us, society as a whole, a majority of us, we get something, we want to enjoy it to the fullest. And for mobile gaming, because we are a society that is go, 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 go. If you pick up a game you really enjoy on your phone and you want to enjoy it to its fullest. So the mobile game that I actively play, it's called Auto Brawl Chess or Auto Chess Brawl, whatever it is.
Okay.
So it's just an auto chess battler. If I wanted to hit the top levels, because I like to be very good in the games I play. If I wanted to hit the top levels, I have to spend close to $1,000 just to hit bottom tier top level for a day. A day.
And yeah, that's where the whole predatory word steps in, because like by incentivizing competition, especially like leaderboards and stuff, that even like Duolingo does it. You know what I mean? Like you go to Duolingo and you're doing like your language lessons, you earn points. And you can get into like, you're in the gold league now, practice harder to, get into the diamond league or whatever. And they incentivize you paying for the app by giving you tries to learn a language. So they've even applied these practices to like, yes, it's a game technically, but it's like a learning software.
You want to know what's really messed up? So my wife was telling me that she's been getting emails from the local power company. They've literally created a competition. And so we live in Texas. And right now, it's not just hot. It is dead ass, you need to die hot here in Texas.
Yeah.
And she's getting emails that are like, oh, you're in 9th place for low energy usage. Oh, you've gone up 5 for using too much energy. How gross is that?
Wow.
Like, why?
I know exactly why.
Well, okay, I mean, yes, we do know why, but if you haven't experienced Texas, especially this summer, you need AC, man.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Like, I walk outside, like my car is parked out front, and in my less than 20 feet walk from door to car, I'm going to start sweating.
Yeah, it's not fun. So what the power company should do instead is incentivize everybody to walk around naked.
I mean, hey, show us your best birthday suit, get a month free power.
I would do that. I would if it's like take your clothes off to get like $100 off your heating, like your electric bill. Hell yeah, I'd get naked for $100.
Photo me like one of your French women.
Photo me like one of your Texan women.
But it's honestly, so we hit the history and we hit the big 1-2 that kind of catapulted us into today. Yeah. And I'm just gonna say it. I am not a fan of this. You have games, so in my vein, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay.
You had the game.
Yeah.
But in order for you to fully complete the game, because they gave you a kind of crap ass product, you had to spend what was the DLC?
It was Remind, which was a retreading of the last bits of the game.
Mm-hmm. For how much?
$30. Exactly.
$30 to finish a game because you messed up the first go around.
Well, okay, like it's funny because we addressed the history. We addressed like the 1-2 punch of how we got into this mess in terms of like mobile game prices. Now we're getting into the basically the current predicament, which is like actually it's a 3 punch because the 1-2-3 punch, the third punch was the idea of internet-based consoles that you can download DLC for. Because the promise of DLC was you buy a $50-$60 game, and if companies feel like making more stuff for the game down the line, you can pay for it. So, like with the Elder Scrolls Oblivion that came out, you could get the $5 horse armor if you wanted it. But you could also spend maybe $10-$15 more and get the Shivering Isles, which was a whole other new island you could explore with new stuff to do in it. Now that's value, and that's added value to your game. Whereas buying an ending is not, or because Square Enix is
correcting your mistake is not.
Yeah. The correcting your mistake, Final Fantasy 15 was a mistake, and that's why episode like Gladius and Ingus and all these guys got episodes that you had to pay for.
I mean, at one point in the game, hey, I'm off. And they just leave your party. And then they come back. It's like, man, this has been a long 2 months. Wait, what?
What? Yeah, and also, there's a lot wrong with Final Fantasy 15, but we'll dissect that later.
Fallen franchises, Final Fantasy, we're looking at you. John's looking at me like, oh.
Get ready for our first 4-hour episode. Anyway, no.
Feature-length movie meet feature-length duology.
Yeah. So, again, not to keep reciting, what I've been saying. So we went over the history, the 1-2-3 punch that basically got us into our current predicaments. Our current predicaments now is that the way people monetize is predatory, but also just completely unnecessary because now companies have seen the mobile game marketplace work. They've effectively neutered their supposedly the whole point of like mobile gaming was to have like mobile small like offshoots of your franchises. So like you could buy like a 2K for your phone and play like basketball on the go, and it was not a console experience, but it was a fun enough experience you want to play it.
Exactly.
Now you're getting like 2K22, which is a $70 game, $60-$70 game, and it has, if you want to play like the season mode or like, level up a character or like a franchise or stuff, they're like, well, buy the 2K coins in the marketplace. The best value is the $100 one.
It's gross and disgusting. And honestly, every game that comes out, for the most part, is doing it. So I mentioned a while back on the podcast, Dodgeball Academia. Mm-hmm. There's extra shit to purchase in a game like that. Uh-huh. No. And it's nothing worthwhile. It's like, oh, look a little cool here. Or it's things like that. So shift that. Like, I get people are going to want that Pokemon Unite skin. Things like that. That's fine. Shift it to be earned within the game.
Well, now that you've said that, that's the thing, is that I wanted to touch on probably the best way I've seen it work so far. And I'll give it an example from my own play habits. So
Genshin Impact.
No. No. I don't have to pay for titties. No, but in this world, whores pay you. Anyway, I play a game called Asphalt, which is a racing game.
Mm-hmm. I remember you telling me about that.
And it's free to play. And it has a lot of the same mobile trappings that you would find. You go into the store, you can buy card packs, which unlock cars, because the cards individually add up to unlock a blueprint for a car. You earn free card packs, but you can always buy them. You can buy cars straight away. You can buy the tokens. You can do stuff. It has all of those trappings. But one of the things that I've actually appreciated as I've played it is it introduced me to the concept of the season pass or the battle pass, right? So there are tiers to it, so you can have a free version and a paid version.
Okay.
But it basically incentivizes you to play. And the way it does that is by, hey, here's all the stuff you can earn based on how much you play the game. Now, I think just because of the nature of a very exploitative industry, we might never end up going back to just buy a $60 game and unlock all the stuff in it by playing it. What they'll do instead is they'll offer things like battle passes, season passes, and ways for you to incentivize during like week-long stretches of like play the game and earn the XP points or meet the qualifications to unlock this thing.
Well, to be fair, we are getting games still that are $60 and have everything. I will use that Disgaea 5 example. The Nintendo Switch version was $60 MSRP when it came out. Came with every single thing that you would have had to purchase on your PS4 copy in order for all the additional content.
So what happened?
I have no clue. Like, that is your guess is as good as mine.
Nipponichi, you hurting for money? Like, what's happening?
So I think re-releases, they might just be like, oh, cool, here. We took your money, whatever. We'll take your money from the Switch purchase, move on. I don't know, but I think, and this is gonna pain me a little bit to say.
Uh-oh.
We have the solution at our fingertips. So in this current chaos, there are two things going right. The first being the primo example, Game Pass.
I never thought I would take this much delight in your pain.
And then the second being the new PlayStation Premium. There. Return salvo.
I just see the freaking ad on Twitter now for like, you want the entire Yakuza franchise? $100 a year, please. Ugh. It's already on Game Pass. I'm just doing the.
So, as much shit as I give John for it's not free on Game Pass and all of the nonsense, that in this current model of what's going on, that and the new PlayStation Premium, that is honestly the way to go. You bypass price gouging on some of the older games. You give people access to new games right away. And on top of that, you are still earning, we'll call it passive income.
Yeah.
Because it's not really direct income. Because, like, purchase, that's direct, cool, boom. But it's continual passive income for them.
Yeah, it's $15 a month, and for Game Pass Ultimate, you get all the stuff in it, and then games come and go. And the incentive, like the way that you incentivize to still buy the games that are usually included in Game Pass is if they decide to leave the service. So the way that Microsoft incentivizes you to keep it is that, like, hey, we make games still, wink, so you might as well keep it when, like, you know, Gears 6 comes out, and you can play it day one.
That's honestly how I've been playing Stray. I didn't get a chance to like purchase the game just because things have been busy, but I had PlayStation Premium and I'm like, oh look, and it literally the ad pops up. It's like, oh, enjoy Stray now on PlayStation Premium. I'm like, neat
kitty cat game.
And I think so. We've talked a lot about the chaos of that is. We've talked about the history of it and kind of how we have unfortunately gotten to this really crappy situation we're in.
Yeah, we went from the arcade wars to the console wars, to the subscription wars,
and now to the penny pinching wars.
It's gonna basically race to the bottom. It's been a race to the bottom for a long time. Now we're finally seeing it.
So
publishers are like, "What do I have to give you to make you subscribe to PlayStation Plus?"
we need to follow. So hope for the future. Like,
do we want to take a break before we go into like our ideal of stuff?
Don't touch that die.
Yeah, you're definitely editing this one because I'm never going to listen to that. So we're going to take a quick break. That was a lot, so we're going to take a break, and then we'll get into things that we think will be better.
Hope for the future!
Powdered toast, man. That's what it sounded like to me. All right, stick around, y'all. We'll be right back. One last thing I'll say about like the dystopia we clearly live in when it comes to gaming. The fact that people can go on stage at any press conference they want and then openly proclaim that we won't have loot boxes or pay-to-win mechanics and we get cheers from the audience. We live in hell.
Yeah, it's a messed up world.
But yeah, welcome back, everybody.
So
I gave you a brief glimpse of like what I think works best for the future of monetization in your games. So right now we're going to just try and solve it. So how do you make it work?
Honestly, I think it boils down to something very simple. You always every game is base game. So we'll use game I'm hyped for. You cautiously said, oh, this could be okay. Final Fantasy 16.
Mm-hmm.
Base game. Now, you beat said base game. Or actually, better yet, Strangers of Paradise. Because they're actually coming out with their first additional content.
A lot of people are mad about it.
They can be mad about it, but hear me out. Base games are base game. You have to give people an enjoyment. So, story to completion. God of War, the 2018 version.
Yep.
That was a full story within a game. That was a very total experience within the game without any extra money.
Yeah, for as much crap as I give a lot of like PlayStation exclusives and stuff, they dedicate themselves to providing a whole experience in one game.
Now, for people that want more, you openly advertise it transparently. We are releasing John's Horizon franchise for Horizon Forbidden West.
Or a new playable character. This time he has a new feature, a penis.
So, but you
Aloy's like, what's that?
Man.
Could you? I'm just imagining a complete like 180 like series sabotage where they just make her into like a boy crazy cave woman.
So, but
I'd play that game.
I know you would.
Yeah.
100% you would.
We could do the God of War sex scenes, but in reverse.
Oh no.
Instead of fucking, you get. Oh.
Yeah, you're editing this one.
No, you are.
No, this is back at you, dog.
No, that's still a good idea. It would force a lot of like incels to get fucked.
Anywho,
let us introduce ourselves in season 3. Step out on stage and just set ourselves on fire.
Anywho, Jesus. But you have your base game, but the additional content is a fraction. And I'm not talking like Kingdom Hearts 3, $30, or buy your coins XXX. For this additional content, $5.
Wow.
It is a flat fee because hear me out. Okay? That additional content, a majority of it, they're going to pull from all of their files already. So it's just going to be little tweak here, little modify here. Most games are using reskins, enemies, blah, 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 right? It is some work, but it is not from the ground up work, right?
It's not, you're not developing a whole new engine. You're not developing a whole new like effects library or asset library. Yeah, I get it.
So $5. Most games that have that extra do phenomenally well. So Kingdom Hearts 3, for all intents and purposes, like it sold well. It got a greatest hits for crying out loud.
Ugh.
Right?
Yeah.
So we're talking, you have to sell 1 million copies to qualify for the greatest hits.
Yeah.
We'll just say, fuck it, $60 a copy. That's $60 million.
They should do the music industry thing. And it's like, what's diamond? Oh, it's 10 times platinum.
Yep. But $60 million. That's more than met metrics. $5 for the content.
With the economics of like boxed sales, usually publishers / developers get maybe a split of like 27 to $17 back each. So retailers get like a 33%. It's usually like a 33% breakdown.
Okay, fine. Still $5.
Okay. Still $5. Still sweatshop, prices.
So we as consumers are consuming more and more, right?
Yeah.
This year alone, I think I'm up to almost 100 video games purchased for modern consoles, as my retros are all gone minus PlayStation 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. So I am still consuming at a gigantic rate. Your shit's gonna sell no matter what. Rune Factory 5 came out. That's sold. Dodgeball Academia, sold. Skull, sold. Far Cry 6, sold.
That was last year.
Fair. But you get the idea, right? Like, games are gonna sell. And the market, the engine and the machine, that is the video game world, has gotten so big that games that have no reason for selling still sell. Your $1, $2 Steam games, right?
Well, yeah, Steam sales and stuff too.
But
well, because that also brings us into the eShop, and the eShop is like a race to the bottom of just like, because they have their great deals tab, and like you'll see games that are like $15 being sold for like $1.
Oh, you actually brought up a very awesome thing. You get rid of, for consoles, I don't know how to work this on PC. I'll figure that out later. eShop is gone.
What?
eShop is gone. If you want to enjoy what the eShop represents, which is just essentially physical library plus games that did not come out physically, right? Yes or no?
I think the eShop is about being a digital storefront for Nintendo. That's
okay,
it.
So yeah, or PlayStation or Microsoft, right?
Right, the digital marketplaces. But yes, what were you going to say?
Zero it out. No longer purchase like that. You want...
That sounds horrible.
Hold on.
Okay.
You gotta hold on. I know, you're...
I'm ready to, like, sink my teeth in here.
If you think about it, you have Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does Game Pass give you access to everything that you would tentatively purchase on the eShop? Yes or no? Yes. The answer is yes. Now, I'm going to go even further. I'm going to dive into the pond. You brought up a very valid point earlier in this episode that it incentivizes you to, oh, these games are about to come off. You got to enjoy it, and now these games are coming off. For the games you enjoyed that are rotating off, fraction of the cost. We'll say $1 to $10. You pick the number. I don't care, right?
It's $1 to $10.
But you will think about it. On Game Pass, you have... I know you're a unique situation, Mr. I've got it years free, but
yeah,
people have spent... It's kind of like car insurance, right?
Yeah.
Every month. Click.
I want to see that
click,
ad
click.
campaign. This is like Game Pass. It's like car insurance.
I will find a way to make it work. But so for 1 year, $15 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're looking at $180.
Yeah.
Right? In that 1 year span, there might be 3 games that are leaving that you might want to keep for future usage.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That $180, if you factor in like the cost of what those 3 games would be, you've more than spent what it would be to purchase just those 3 games.
I think I get where you're going with this. Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
And it's funny too, because I think when I describe my ideal version of this, it's going to be very similar.
Did we just wavelength without wavelinking?
Well, finish your point. Is that the whole thing?
So you do that. You now eliminate cutthroatness in the digital world. You effectively allow people that... So they're not everyone.
It's a customer loyalty program, basically.
Exactly, and not everybody's going to be a physical maniac like I am. Some people, like one of our like you, for example, like you have a vast digital library.
Yep.
You can, if you go that model, you can change what the subscription costs. You could do $20 a month, right?
Yeah.
But if people know that for $20 a month, I have access to the entire gamut of games from a digital online perspective,
mm-hmm.
You'd be dumb not to do it.
Yeah, and I think where our ideas are going to differ a little bit is that you're talking about actually owning the games themselves, where I think a lot of the discussion I've tried to have is about the economy within a game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a little bit different. I think the idea of like a customer loyalty program offering incentives and stuff like that, they do that with like Xbox Live Gold and PSN and all sorts of stuff where it's like you get a free game a month and they pick it, but oftentimes they'll have sales around the time where it's like, hey, get like a month of Game Pass. Also, if you are a subscriber or someone who's part of the club, you get discounts on games, exclusive discounts and crap like that. Again, customer loyalty program.
Yep.
Now, for me, the way that I would do this is put that kind of philosophy within a game itself. So I'll make up some an example of like a video game, right?
Okay.
One of the things I don't like a lot about certain games is that they grade you, like with letter grades and stuff like that. But what I thought was, because this was like something if I was going to make a game, instead of having letter grade systems, it'd be a point system like a normal game. And then if you wanted people to keep playing and, incentivize getting good at the game or playing it more or experiencing more stuff or unlocking stuff, the way that it would connect like via like an online service would be like, hey, during this time of day or during this week, like this level offers double points and it fills up an XP bar so you can buy cosmetics in like an in-game shop.
So utilization of your time to translate into wants.
Yeah, because anybody who's anybody can just buy whatever they want. Like
Yeah.
you can buy a season pass or a battle pass. That's the whale alarm. No, but like anybody can spend money. Like that's the thing. But if you actually want to foster a community or foster even just a reliable base of players, incentivize the actual playing of the game. So that's why I think the best way to do like a cosmetic unlock system or an in-game purchase system would be to incentivize. Let's say you buy, like I'll just use, and you can do this with any like RPG because the experience bar system is kind of the same. You level up and you save it, right? So what if when a new DLC comes out, like you've kind of like bulk leveled, like you keep rolling over levels, kind of like prestiging in Call of Duty, but that gets stored up. So you basically get like, like Call of Duty points or whatever points, crystals, whatever
RPG points,
whatever currency you want, like happy tokens. I don't fucking know. Gratitude crystals.
Feel good points.
The more you play, the more you stockpile that currency, and then when the DLC comes out for free, you can use the currency that you garnered to get some of the things from that package, or it goes into the next battle pass or a paid battle pass or whatever.
So what you're saying is an amalgamation of mine and yours together would equal total harmony for gamers.
Yes, and completely throw out in-game purchases in $60 to $70 games. Get rid of that.
The only justifiable thing that should be allowed as an in-game purchase is to reward loyalists to your franchise. Far Cry. There's 6 of them, right?
Yep.
As a one-time...
There's more than 6 of them. There's a lot more.
Okay, fair. 6 mainline ones.
Uh-huh.
As a one-time option for loyal, dedicated players who have met those time requirements in the game through earning stuff, they have access to purchase at a discounted price the next one. That would be an in-game thing I could get behind. It
would be a tough sell, but in a world that we deserve to live in, that'd actually be kind of cool.
So it doesn't have to be a big discount, right? Like, so game, like
$5. Get it $5 off.
So PS5 and Series X games are going for $70 now for like the new titles like Halo Infinite.
That's 60, I think.
I thought it was 70.
No.
Oh, so fine. Ratchet and Clank, the new one was 70.
Gross.
So the discount on that could be $20 off. So you're still spending $50, but when you think about it, in order to unlock that, that's time, dedication of your energy, dedication of the biggest resource we have, which is our time, into that franchise for the games before it in order to get it.
It's very idealistic, which I think is actually a good note to end this on, because God knows I can tear it all down and basically say, like, yeah, corporations don't care. They just want your money. But in the world that let's pretend we live in the world we deserve, and that would be kind of cool. A way that actually fosters like rewards and doesn't just give you like, 100 Ubisoft points to download a wallpaper.
And every video game company everywhere met their time deadlines.
Yeah, and they didn't crunch and torture their developers or their QA testers or their marketing or their people who are getting sexually
harassed. All right, now you're just making us sad.
Yeah.
So
the games are serious business.
Oh man. So what are your thoughts? We want to know what you think of monetization today. And
do you play freemium games? Do you play premium games that you wish had freemium elements for some reason? Let us know.
So, for Twitter, John and his magic Twitter fingers, that is his experience in his world. The Instagram and my Insta goggles, I got nothing. It's my experience, the James experience, but let us know. It's kind of a hot button topic because a lot of people, it has been so ingrained that it just comes naturally. Like, oh, cool, yeah, I spent this. Oh, yeah, cool, I got this. That it's become second nature. And me personally, I don't want to see things like that become second nature for us as gamers, because that's just taking advantage of our wallets, time, resources.
Yeah, or if you actually do have certain proclivities and, neurodivergent kind of behaviors and tendencies, like the people who exploit that stuff, they can go to hell.
Mm-hmm. So as you know, you can find us, as I just mentioned, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. at Games with John and James, our YouTube, where you can actually see the new logo coming along, and it looks fire. Let us know what you think. We love feedback. So, as always, I'm James.
And I'm John.
This has been Games with John and James, the Money Edition.
The freemium edition. If you want to download the rest of the episode, give us $20.
And as you will hear with this exit song, show me the money!
Oh my God. Vince McMahon retired.
Yeah, that was actually a left field news thing.
Yeah, and then again, stay tuned for the DLC episode where we talk about that. Peace out, everybody.
Show me the money!
Here we go. Shane McMahon song. Don't ever make me sing again. All right, goodbye, everybody. See you next time.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, money, money,
Dollar, dollar. Dollar, dollar. Ching, ching, bling, bling, got the chatter. You ain't talking money, then your talking don't matter. Ching, ching, bling, bling, patent pockets. We take the dollar, dollar, can a damn soul stop it. Here comes the new kid on the block. Hold on your bets, here's where the buck stops. See, first of all, I'm stepping out on my own.